but it does just feel like a dark fairy tale, doesn't it? But the obviously Poe. One of the things that I realized, I already knew about Poe's death. So Poe had a very strange death, an unexplained death. And I thought that the explanation for Poe's death was this thing that used to be called cooping or coopering, which was basically he was found insensible in a bar, and he was wearing clothes that weren't his clothes. And the idea was that he'd swapped his clothes so that he could vote for the same candidate in some election several times, pretending to be different people, and he'd been bribed with drink to do that, and he'd basically got alcohol poisoning or whatever. That's what I thought had happened. The more I looked into it, the more I found out the whole thing about him dying as a drunkard. Now, I know that you've watched a documentary about this recently, so you might have a different opinion. But the whole thing about him dying as a drunkard and being this terrible hellraiser and everything actually seems to be a myth, but a deliberately perpetrated myth, because after the doctor who was responsible for treating him said a lot of weird things that didn't make sense about how he had come into his care, and that Poe's aunt had asked him to look after him when Poe's aunt didn't know he was ill, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of strange stuff, but there's this whole thing that after Poe died, this anonymous obituary went out